He's Paul Finebaum, the voice of the SEC Network commentator, live from SEC Media Days in Alabama today and tomorrow on the SEC Network. And Paul, good morning. Do we have any drama at SEC Media Days?
Well, yes, we do. Nick Saban just walked into the hotel here, and about 500 of his faithful were screaming. And I'm sure Nick Saban will be addressing the Rory McIlroy comments any moment now.
Is he like Elvis?
I grew up in Memphis. I think he's bigger than Elvis. He's certainly thinner than Elvis at the end. Dan, listen, I've covered this man for many, many years, but someone said, do you think Nick Saban dreads walking in this hotel? I think he loves it. I mean, he walks in. I covered this, by the way, but I haven't seen anything quite like it since Moses parted the Red Sea. And fans are screaming. I went out to meet someone about 5:45 this morning. There were already 100 or two fans, and it's not like they sit out and have a latte with Saban. I mean, they're just screaming his name. He looks up. He gives kind of a very awkward, almost effeminate wave because he, as you know, Nick, he's not really an extrovert. I mean, he doesn't like to talk to people unless he has to. So it's just humorous. And then 15, 20, 30 cameras follow him around like he's about to be named Donald Trump's vice presidential running mate.
How good is his team this year?
By normal Saban standards, they're off a little bit, which means that they'll probably go 11-1, win the SEC, and be in the college football playoff. But for the third year in a row, Dan, they don't have a quarterback. Last year, of course, they had Jacob Coker, a graduate transfer from Florida State. This year, the graduate transfers went to the big one went to A&M. That was Trevor Knight of Oklahoma. But that doesn't matter. Lane Kiffin is still there, even though he probably doesn't want to be. And as long as Kiffin is running the offense and they have 5 stars across the line on defense and at wide receiver, they'll probably win again.
Why doesn't Lane Kiffin probably not want to be there?
Well, because Lane Kiffin 3 years ago was fired by SC. He took this job on a 1-year deal, thinking it would lead to a head coaching position. And even after 2 SEC titles and the national championship, for whatever reason, he is still toxic with athletic directors. And I think that's frustrating to him because I think he's really a pretty good coach, and he's shown what a great offensive mind he is. But athletic directors, I mean, tell me this: how could you hire Will Muschamp at South Carolina, who failed at Florida over Lane Kiffin, who didn't have great success at Southern Cal, but shows a great deal of imagination?
Well, I also think personality plays a role. You can have no personality and be a great coach and be like Saban and Belichick, but you have to be a great coach. I think there's part of that now where you got to win press conferences, and Lane wasn't a great personality when it came to that.
No, he lost press conferences like 49-0. But he is kind of an interesting guy, and I once criticized him, so I'm not going to try to sound like I've always been on the Lane Kiffin bandwagon. But I think what he's done at Alabama in 2 years is remarkable, Dan. And I hope he gets another chance. He couldn't even get an interview last year at Syracuse. I got an interview at Syracuse.
Talking to Paul Finebaum, the voice of the SEC. The Ole Miss situation, Hugh Freeze and the NCAA. What kind of questions are being asked? Is he being asked questions about that at Media Day?
He'll be here tomorrow, and it will be a circus. Hugh Freeze almost received the notice of allegations, and they're serious allegations. But since then, Hugh Freeze has gone on a speaking tour across the country giving interviews, and every time he talks, he makes the situation worse. He gave an interview this week to ESPN where he said coaches were calling him, offering support, and that was after a report in Sports Illustrated by Pete Thamel that said a number of coaches, including one prominent SEC head coach, questioned the NCAA, saying if they don't do something about this soon, it's going to be like the Wild Wild West. So he's in the spotlight tomorrow. Yesterday, the big story was this 5-star defensive lineman, Jeffrey Simmons, who was shown on video beating up a woman who had been in an altercation with his sister in his neighborhood when he was in high school. He was suspended for 1 game by Mississippi State against South Alabama. They're a 32-point favorite in that game, and Dan Mullen said they're thrilled to have him on campus. So that's another buzz story making the rounds here in Alabama.
How much do you guys miss Steve Spurrier?
Badly. We had Steve on our show Monday. He wasn't here, but he was promoting a book, which will be out, and I'm sure you'll be inundated by Spurrier fans. It's a pretty funny book. It's coming out in 5 weeks, but he owned this event for all but 2 years of the last 25. That's when he was working for Dan Snyder in Washington. But he, you know what a star he is. No one has taken his place yet.
Paul, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.
Be careful in Rio.
Thank you, Paul.
Okay. Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it.
Be careful in SEC country as well. Paul Finebaum.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.